President, add this to the long and growing list of promises made and promises kept. Ultimately, this right here, the Golden Dome for America, is a game changer. It's a generational investment in the security of America and Americans. Now it is, and you're following through to say we will protect the homeland from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether they're conventional or nuclear.
Oh my God! Wow!
This was my first reaction when I saw the news about the creation of the Golden Dome missile defense system. Then, sometime later, while doing chores in the kitchen, I found out roughly how much it was going to cost and caught myself thinking $175 billion. Or maybe for that kind of money, it'd be easier to build a combat space station in Earth orbit. And so, a simple, naive question turned into a funny idea and into my personal nightmare, since I had no idea what lay ahead in searching for the right information and calculating future prices. Also, you can't just ask ChatGPT, how much does a space combat station cost? And having gotten an answer, go about your day, because we all already know the price of those answers.
Hey, chat, give me the address of a club where I can be sure I'll have the wildest night of my life.
Of course, here's the best option for you.
The next day.
Hey, chat, you got it wrong. It was a gay nightclub.
Indeed, I was mistaken. Or did you want something even wilder?
First of all, I'll very briefly explain what this Golden Dome system is and how much it might cost. It's just a regular missile defense system. And this is the Golden Dome. Okay, to put it briefly and without jokes, this is also a missile defense system, but it has to be a complex, multi-layered defense through which not a single missile should penetrate. As I mentioned above, its initial estimated cost is $175 billion. But then other figures emerged. According to military representatives, the sum could reach $500 billion, and Congress estimates the system at $831 billion. And so, it's decided. And to start my calculations, I first need a layout for this station.
5 minutes later.
Done. I was right to base it on a somewhat realistic station shape. Our task is to estimate roughly how much such a station would cost today using current technologies or developments. Since any complex structure is made up of many small parts, I decided to take the Destiny Laboratory module of the ISS as my starting point for all the calculations. I began by looking for the materials needed to build it, and here my personal nightmare began, because you can't just type into Google Ali 2195 aerospace alloy patented price per square meter. Even if you find a supplier for those materials, you then wait a week only to get back. You need additional paperwork to buy this, so we won't sell it to you. In the end, I did uncover approximate market prices for the materials. To find them, I searched public procurement databases, various tenders, the NASA Cost Estimating Handbook CEH, and read product specifications looking for any mention of price. So in this video, I'll spare you the painful details and just give the final numbers. I'll leave the full spreadsheet of calculations as a PDF on my website. The link will be in the description. Here we go. The unit cost of one Destiny module comes out to about $250 million. Wait, only $250 million. That's not exactly a shocking price for space technology. But that's just the module itself, not counting operations. In other words, we build it, launch it, and it just orbits like a tin can. Plus, keep in mind we're building with proven standardized technologies, no prototyping costs. Okay, now back to our drawing. Destiny is about 8.5 meters long. If we take 8 of these modules and arrange them in a ring, the total circumference is 8 times 8.5 meters equals 68 meters. Plugging that into the formula, the diameter of a circle with a 68-meter circumference is approximately 21.6 meters, so the station's diameter is roughly 21.6 meters. These are very rough estimates. Of course, you'd need to allow for connection joints, etc. A station isn't just modules. You also need external systems: solar arrays, truss, radiators, robotic arm, ACS, TCS, comms, batteries, adapters. Overall, assembly, launch, and commissioning under ideal conditions would cost about $7 billion. Now let's move on to everyone's favorite topic. Even the toughest guys can't resist: weapons. What kind of armament do you need to shoot down missiles from space? To my surprise, there are already concepts that can intercept missiles launched from Earth. Co-orbital kill vehicles. An interceptor satellite is pre-deployed into usually low orbit and held in reserve. Ground sensors, radar, IR, detect a hostile ballistic missile launch and calculate its trajectory. The interceptor fires its thrusters and adjusts orbit to catch up with the warhead. At the intercept zone, it executes a guidance maneuver and closes to within tens of meters or less, then strikes to destroy the target. Advantages of this method. Proven concept. Soviet Polyus and US Brilliant Pebbles projects envisioned precisely these ballistic killers. Disadvantages of this method. Limited on-orbit inventory. You need dozens to hundreds of interceptors to ensure you can take out hundreds of warheads. Launch and sustain costs. Deploying even a dozen kill vehicles costs hundreds of millions, plus service and replacement of expended units. Reaction time. The missile launch must be detected well before its high-speed re-entry phase, and once the trajectory is computed, the interceptor still needs time to maneuver. To reduce reaction time, the idea evolved into a drone satellite with its own onboard navigation. It's deployed and simply waits for the activation command. Once the incoming warhead is near the intercept zone, over ocean or uninhabited land, the drone activates its radar TV cameras, homes in on azimuth and range, and fires its small thrusters. Prototypes of such devices have also existed for a long time. That's one option. Now let's talk about weapons, without which no space war is possible. Laser weapons. Experimental prototypes of laser weapons have existed for quite some time, and the idea of using them in space sounds perfectly logical. A phased array laser or proton-ion emitter is deployed in orbit. Ground systems, radar, IR, track the missile launch and send the track to the laser platform. The beam focuses on the missile upper stage once it's out of the atmosphere. Heating the fuel tank causes leaks, explosion, or ignition, so the missile loses control and breaks apart. Advantages of this method. Instantaneous engagement, beam travels at light speed. Disadvantages of this method. Power hungry. Tens to hundreds of kilowatts continuous output needed to burn through a fuel tank. No operational space prototypes yet. Precision pointing, phased mirrors must be controlled to submicron accuracy. Station vibrations and atmospheric distortions in low orbit blur the beam. Lasers, cool, but still experimental, so I'd go with what works now, and this is hit-to-kill vehicle. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you the prices for both options. Hit-to-kill vehicles build, test, integrate, and launch about 100 million each. Annual ops, 2 to 3 million. Laser satellite, build, test, integrate, and launch about 1 billion. Annual ops, 20 to 30 million. So how much hit-to-kill vehicles do we need? As of mid-2025, public data show approximate intercontinental ballistic missile stocks capable of reaching the US. Russia, 330 land-based intercontinental ballistic missiles plus 192 submarine intercontinental ballistic missiles equals 522. China, 400 intercontinental ballistic missiles plus 72 intercontinental ballistic missiles equals 472 total. And now about the United States of America's hostile enemies. Canada, 0 intercontinental missiles. Mexico, 0 intercontinental missiles. So in total, we have 994 warheads. To guarantee 100% intercept of a simultaneous launch, you'd need at least 994 hit-to-kill interceptors. And note, these are single-use. You can recover them after several years on orbit. Here's where our space station helps. You could load interceptors on board, keep them at a constant state of readiness, and perform maintenance as needed. But there's another problem. Earth is round, not plane. You couldn't load all 1,000 interceptors on one station and cover the globe. The International Space Station orbits every approximately 92 minutes, about 16 orbits per day. To guarantee coverage anywhere, you'd need 10 such stations. That's 10 stations at $7 billion each plus 1,000 kinetic interceptors, which by my math comes to roughly 170 billion, almost exactly the 175 billion quoted for the Golden Dome system. Excuse me, one question.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here.
Honestly, this wasn't a straightforward math problem with a known answer, but the result makes you wonder. It all seems a bit suspicious. Fine, say my numbers are way off, and for $175 billion, you can build only 2 to 3 stations and 500 interceptors. Still, 2 or 3 orbiting battle stations, ready at a moment's notice to strike anywhere. This is not only a military factor, but also a political one. America can protect any ally if it wants to. Or, if you like, use this element as one of talking points in negotiations with someone. Okay, I'll admit my back-of-the-envelope ignored real-world cost drivers like US procurement price escalations, Europe's eco-friendly requirements, China waiting and then undercutting with stolen tech. But what if we don't reinvent the wheel and just buy something existing, like Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile defense system? Let's take a map of the United States of America and... Oh, sorry. I'll fix the mistake now. 1 Iron Dome battery, 3 to 4 launchers plus radar and control costs $50 to $100 million. Coverage approximately 13.8 kilometers diameter, approximately 150 square kilometers. Let's cover the US, 9,833,520 square kilometers. To fully cover this territory, you'd need about 60,984 batteries. And how much would this Iron Dome system ultimately cost the United States if they were to purchase a ready-made solution? At $50 to $100 million each, that's $3 to $6 trillion, well above the entire federal budget. And that's before logistics, ops, upgrades. Sure, the US is rich, but then every one of its 206 million working-age adults would have to chip in $14,563 to $29,126 in their spare time. But that system has its own flaw. An adversary could build 1 battle station of their own. While the Golden Dome tries to shoot down nuclear missiles, that enemy station could take out our interceptors, clearing the way for warheads. I don't know about you, but I prefer the idea of building space stations. What do you think? Drop a comment under the video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.